Yo, what's going on guys? It's me, it's Nomey, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can get started DJing using the DJAY app without any gear. So you don't need a controller, you don't need CDJs. The device you are watching this video on probably has the app available on the App Store. So get started. Down in the description, if you already haven't got the DJAY app downloaded, there is a download link for iOS devices and for the Google Play Store. So download that and then come straight back to the video. For those of you who've already started using Pioneer's record box, you have a controller or you're already familiar with the software on the laptop or the mobile version, I've got a full video on my channel of how you can get started and some advanced tips on that. So head over to my channel, watch that video. Okay then, to get started, when you first have the app downloaded, you'll have a screen that looks a little something like this. But please be aware, I know it looks like you have to pay and they're showing you all these memberships and subscription prices and even a nice 68% discount, but just look at the top left hand corner where this little X is, and we're going to press that and we're going to use it for free. Okay then, so to get started, we'll have a screen that looks a little something like this. Just like I said in the record box video, we also have the option to change the view so we get more advanced features. This is the simple view, so if we press this middle icon at the top of the screen, we're presented with a page that looks like this. Currently we're on the starter view, which is a very basic overview to get started DJing, but I'm going to run you through everything. So we're going to go onto the classic view. Now this here, right here, this gives me super nostalgia because this is the interface of what I used to see every day after school, DJing tracks that I downloaded, and wow man, it just brings me back this page. So yeah, we're going to get working on this. This is a more of advanced view. If you do decide to pay, you can get the pro version where, as you can see, it's not going to give me all of them, or unless I can, I think so. Oh no, okay, so it's put us straight back to the classic view. But yeah, as you could see at a quick glance, we had a lot more functions available, but this is the free version, so we're going to go and get started with the free version. At the top left and top right, we have these beams, this musical notation of where we can select our tracks. So once we press that button, we're presented with this screen, and this screen shows us some featured tracks, and we can also press this little one here with the waveform, and this gives us some sources so we can get music from Apple Music, Spotify, DJ, Music, Tidal, even SoundCloud. That's wicked, that's absolutely crazy. There is so much things that have changed on this software and so much versatility that you get, like even videos, man, like you can VJ on this. This is crazy. So if you saw the record box video, we also got this feature with using Beatport, and I have to give a shout out to DJAY. From when I started using this app, like they have put so much stuff in there, like that is amazing. So for the sake of this video, we're going to use Beatport and have tracks limited up to 2 minutes. If you saw the record box video, I presented a way of how you can get tracks downloaded for free onto your device, and stick around in the video because later on I'm going to explain how you can do that. Okay, so let's get a track of mine. Let's do something different because in the record box video I used that one. So let's go with Wavy Sampler. Yeah. So it's going to start at a random point during the track because this track is a lot longer than 2 minutes long. And that is one of the limitations of using Beatport without using the paid version. But for this demonstration, it's completely fine. So yeah, okay, so now that's how we first get our track onto the deck. I'm going to continue labeling. So the next one is the sync function. What the sync allows us to do is for the software to automatically mix the tracks together for us. So what this will do is it'll pull the transients together. The transients can be the start of a kick drum, start of a clap, depending on the type of genre you're mixing. It varies, but the software will do this automatically for you once the sync button is enabled. So to get started, the sync button is your best friend. There is so much controversy with DJs, professionals, of this being the button, the most dreadful button made on softwares, but to get started, just use it, we don't care. Okay, so yeah, so that's what that is. We've got our track loaded, that's the sync button. Next is the BPM, and this tells us the beats per minute of the track. This track is one of mine, Wavy Sampler, and I did in fact make this at 128 beats per minute. What we can do is press the 128 beats per minute and we can change the tempo. So if we want to bring that really down, we can bring it down like this. If we want to speed it up, we can speed it up like this. And also if we want to slow it down even further, we've got this range button here where we can, let's say, go up to 75%, and we can really slow this down, so this will sound a little something like this. So that's what the range button allows us to do. It allows us to increase the percentage, the increments of how much we can slow the track down and how fast we can speed it up. But typically when DJing, especially on gear such as a DJAY 2000, 3000, typically you don't want this range to be too far outside of what you're mixing. So if you're an open format DJ, you may have this range on maybe 75%, 50% to allow you to transition from pop to R&B to drum and bass to house. So this range gives you more selection of being able to do that. But for myself, DJing house music, 25% is plenty enough. I mean, we could probably even go down to 10%. That is, yeah, so 10% is even better, and that gives us a binary selection of being able to get the correct BPM, as we can see, 124 there, and alternatively we can type that in as well. So that's what that allows us to do. The BPM is very important because when we're mixing tracks, we need to make sure the tracks are in the same BPM so that they're moving at the exact same speed and they stay in sync. Okay, sweet, so let's just reset that. We're back at 128. Okay, so the next feature, I didn't see this on the Pioneer's record box app, but it may be there, is these little sliders that are at the bottom of the tempo fader. If we click those, we get this option here. Now this is where AI comes into the world of DJing, because what this allows us to do is to separate the elements of the track with the drums, the harmonics and the vocals. Because this is the free version, I'm not sure if this is going to allow us to do it, but let's actually see how effective this is. So let's go, and we're going to take out the drums, for example. Damn, bro, that is sick. That is absolutely sick. That worked straight off the bat. That is crazy. And this is why I am actually one for adopting AI into the world of music and DJing, because being able to do that without using like Tractor software and having to download all the stems of the track is just incredible. That was like amazing. But as we can see, it only allowed us to preview it because we're on the free version. But that neural mix is, yeah, I like that, man. That works pretty well. I would use that in a set. Let's see what the next one is. So this is our cue points. We'll get onto that in a second. And then we have our loop function, FX, which is a nice effects pad, and then we get our mixer as well. So this is the next important thing that I would like to get onto. I didn't quite speak about this in the record box video, so for people that have come over from that, you're going to get a nice understanding for being with me. So this is a great point to press that subscribe button and keep learning with me, because I'm going to reveal it all. So this here is our mixer, and we find this usually in the middle of a DJ setup. So we have equipment like a DGM mixer, Allen and Heath, and loads of other brands which are cool. But essentially, to get started, we've got the low, mids and highs, plus this filter section as well. The lows are going to be our low end energy, the low frequencies, the bass, and the mids are going to be the mid section. So this is where like a lot of the body of the track lives. So within the mid section, when we reduce this and cut them out completely, the identity of the track can just be completely lost. Like as an example, if I do this, without the high frequencies there, the track would just be low end rumble, kick drums, and yeah, it would be really hard to understand what the track is. So just be careful with that. But that's the mids one is great, and yeah, we can boost them and we can reduce the frequencies. So one of the important reasons for the high frequencies is if we're trying to add more energy into a track, we're trying to lift up the hi-hats, or we're trying to lift up the high end of the vocal or something, this is really going to help with presence in a mix. So these are important. Going on to the filter section, we have a low pass filter when you drag it down, and then a high pass filter when you go upwards. A low pass filter is a filter which allows the low frequencies to come through the mix so that we can hear that audible boom boom and the bass rumble and the low mid energy. For the high frequencies, when we push the filter upwards, this is going to cut off all the low end information. So the bass, the kick, that's going to be cut off. And this can be a creative thing. Like, there is no right ways of how to use a filter. It's how you want to experiment with it. But as an example, I'm going to use the filter just before the drop so we can see a classic way of how to use the filter. I'm having to play the tracks in short increments so I don't get copyrighted for playing my own music on YouTube. So bear with, let's go. Low pass filter sounds like this. yeah, just from this point alone, you can see the amount of possibilities that are open and that we can do using just the mixer section alone. Okay, let's go to the effects. So yeah, we get some effects here, and we get echo, reverb, flanger, phasor, bit crush, which is better than the Rekordbox version, because on the Rekordbox app we were limited to 3 effects. On this we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We get 7 effects for free, and then when you pay for the pro version you get a lot more. Wow, they really have gone to town on the amount of effects that are on here. Like, even professional mixers that are like £3,000 don't have as much effects as this, and this is my mobile device. So yeah, very, 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 very powerful. I don't want to go through all the effects, but as we can see, we've got this HP and LP, and what that allows us to do is integrate a filter, which we just saw on the mixer channel, into the effects. So if we was going to create a quick echo, it would be like this. So that gives us a nice tail, a nice washout, a nice roll off of an echo. When we start at the left hand side, this is essentially our dry wet parameter. So when we're at the left hand side, we are applying 0% of the echo. As we move into the middle, I'm assuming this will be around 50%, and then 100% wet. So that's what that does. The left and right is the dry wet, and as we go up and down, this is applying a filter to the echo so that we don't have to cycle through these pages. We can just use the high pass filter and low pass filter that is located on the effect we're using. So as a quick demo, it will sound a little something like this. I applied 50% wetness of the echo, and then I used a high pass filter just to get rid of all that low end information and just to really wash it out with a nice echo. So yeah, that's a creative way how we can use it. Okay, then the loop function, and this is going to be great and amazing and a great way to get yourself started understanding what the loop function is doing, because what a lot of DJs tend to do is just stare at a screen, whether that be your mobile device, a laptop, or a CDJ player. Staring at a screen is one of the worst things you can do as a DJ, but this function right here, as you can see when we press the loop, it shows us where the loop is going on. So let's use this, but also to use our ears of hearing where it's looping and to make sure it sounds cool and creative. So let's go. So yeah, there we looped the drop twice using a 4-beat loop, and then we allowed it to play on to the next section. So yeah, and another way how we can apply the loop as well is pressing the in and out function. This is one of the ways that I personally like to do it, because I can determine how long I want the loop. So currently these are set to 2 beats, 4 beats, 8 beats, but using the in and out, I could maybe do it as 3 beats if I wanted to. So that would sound a little something like this. So yeah, we can get more creative and we can push the boundaries using the in and out. So that's a great way to use the loop function. Going back to this is our cues, and on this we seem to have 3 cues. We've got a cue, pitch cue, and slice. So when we're setting a cue point, what a cue point allows us to do is to set a point within the track, a memory location within the track of where we can assign 8 hot cues on a track, and we can call them and we can jump back to them points using the hot cues that we've set. So for example, I'm going to set a hot cue on the drop of this track. So there, that's the start, and I'm going to press this pad here. So then when I press the hot cue at the top left hand corner, sometimes you'll see these named as hot cue 1, 2, 3, or hot cue A, B, C. If we press this pen button, we can then undo the hot cue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset this hot cue because my timing was a little bit bad. So let's try that. So that's what the hot cue allows us to do, and as I said, if we want to get rid of them, we just use the pen function and then we press the cross. So okay, sweet. So what the pitch cue allows us to do is, from the hot cues that we've set on this previous page, we can trigger them but pitch them up and pitch them down. So that is another feature which is insane. So that would sound a little something like this. So yeah, loads of possibilities that we could do with the pitch cue effect. Moving on to the slice, this is going to give us a slice. So you see this on a lot of controllers, from beginner up to the most expensive ones like the DJAY, for example. And yeah, this would allow us to put slices on the track and allow us to essentially juggle between the slices. So yeah, we can use that as like a nice little looper, and if we press the play button and use the slicer, it should keep the track playing but allow us to bounce between the slices. And I believe this little icon here will set a loop for us as well, which is nice. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to keep it actually pitched down because that's going to prevent stuff from getting copyrighted. So we're going to go to -1. So yeah, we can go and do loads and loads of fun stuff with that. And if we want to change that, currently it's set to half a beat. So this is the repeat length. We can go to 1 beat, and then this is going to sound like this. So yeah, changing that increment as well allows more possibilities for us to get creative and create nice transitions, drops, and even little fillers just in between our sets. So that's cool. But yeah, really impressed by the effects section that we have on the DJAY app. Like I said, when I started, they had none of this, so this is absolutely insane to see that they have so much possibilities. We also have the platter, this icon, and that allows us to scrub backwards and forwards in the track. And then I wonder if it allows us to move the play arm as well. Oh, that is sick. So just like a vinyl player, we can use the play arm to find points in the tracks. Another view that we have before we move down to the lower section of the interface is this button here, which gives us some more faders and a filter. And what is this? Is this a trim? Yep, this will be a trim. So this gives us some volume, and we can reduce the volume using that. We can switch to the EQ mode, so then we've got this nice familiar interface of where we've got the 2 decks, we've got the mixer channel in the middle. So this would be my preferred way of using this app for sure, so we're going to keep that like this. If we use to the middle, we can get a better view of the waveform. We also get some samples. So we know the possibilities with that for a build-up and in house music in a lot of genres. Like, yeah, I'm not going to go through this too much because we're running out of time. So let's go straight back to the mixer version, because this is an amazing way, which I recommend that you use this style of interface here with the mixer in the middle and 2 tracks on the left and right hand side, because when you finally get to buy your equipment or when you get your next set of equipment, it's going to most likely have this set up here. So let's start with this page here. Okay, next, this set function here allows us to jump back to our cue point. So a cue point is like a hot cue where it allows us to set a point in the track of where we want to go back to. For example, we've set the cue point at the start of the track here, and we can press this button here, which would just be cue. On a controller or on a CDJ device, the cue button is just one button. On here we have the set function and we have the recall button, but we need to understand that on more professional gear it's just one button. And the way this works is when the track is stopped, we press cue, and that sets our set point. And then when the track is playing, if we press the cue button, it's going to jump back to the point of where we set our cue point. So we just need to remember that. But on the DJAY app, it gives us the functionality of seeing both of them, so we don't make any mistakes of accidentally pressing that. So I've set that at the breakdown, so then when I press the cue or recall button, that's how we use the cue point. And other than that, we have some important information at the top side of the screen, which tells us what key the track is in, and we can pitch the track up and down. So if I press play, we can change the pitch. And why that is really useful is because we can pitch our tracks to not only just mix them with the same speed, but we can also mix them with the correct pitches together. So if we've got a track that's in B major, I have now pitched up my track up 2 semitones to match the other track in pitch. Going on to the last bit we have here is our crossfader. What this allows us to do is to mix the left and right decks. So currently it's all the way to the left, we're going to get all the volume from the left track, and when we get to loading a track on deck 2, we can then go across onto that. So it's now time to use everything we've learned of the interface and the basic principles of DJing to get in there and mix some tracks. So let's go. So now we're gonna mix we'll pull another track from myself. Hope that's the booty bounce. Okay, so now we have 2 tracks loaded. We've got our mixer channel in the middle, and we understand what the low frequencies are, the mids, highs, and we can see everything in a very familiar fashion as a DJ. When we are mixing tracks together, when we are mixing tracks that are using a 4/4 time signature, that are using 4 to the floor, this is the way to mix it. So we're gonna start by, on the booty bounce track, we're gonna start this at the beginning, bringing our crossfader to the middle so we can hear that. As I said, because these tracks are on Beatport and it's only giving us 2-minute previews, that is not the start of the track, so we are going to have to use our ears to find the downbeat. The downbeat is the first start point of a musical section or phrase, like an intro, a breakdown, drop, outro, where an element is either coming in or an element is coming out, which is progressing our track on. So in this section, let's do it from the breakdown section of booty bounce. Let's find that. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That one that I just did there is the new section of the track. So I'm going to press the set button, i.e. the cue, and I'm going to recall that just to make sure we got it right. So there we go, I have the cue point set at a new section within the track. So now we know that this is going to be aligned because we have this vocal that comes in saying I'm gonna bounce it. So that's the start of a new section within the track. So now when we mix these 2 tracks, because we already have the BPMs exactly the same, and we're going to use the sync function to help us out, that it's going to be in phrase. So a phrase is, like I said before, is where we have the segments of the track where one track comes in with something, another track comes out with something, or maybe they both come in with a new melody or a new vocal, but that is going to help us keep things sounding professional and seamless while we mix. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, on the drop of the wavy sampler, I'm going to bring in the drop of booty bounce so that we've got 2 drops lined up together, and once they are mixed in, I'm just going to press the sync button to get us started. So let's go and do that. Ready, and press, and then I'm going to press the sync button just to make sure that's done the job. So then when I mix these across, on my next video that I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how we can use these apps to get a set going and mix some tracks in. So that's going to involve how to download music and how to get it onto here, and even how to record your first DJ set. But for the basic principles, this is how the app works. So what to do is have fun, experiment, find your own style. I don't want to give you a direct way of how to DJ because it's such a creative thing. You may discover something that no one has ever done before and be the next greatest DJ. That's what it's about. It's about finding your own style, own way to express and light up the dance floor. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Any questions, put them below in the comment section and I'll do my best to answer as many of them as possible. But do yourselves a favor and press that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos, as I'm going to get more in depth on how you can mix tracks together. But for now, get the apps downloaded, have fun, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.